Okay, good afternoon, Annette. This is the video demo for your location. I want to thank you first for meeting with me and allowing me to show you our product. And what I'm going to cover today is the three basic core functions of the USMED systems, which is one, entering a pedigree, two, how do you accept the information, and three, finally, how you create an outbound order or transaction for your customers. We're going to provide you with a username and password and a link so that you could log in. I'm going to log into your site with a username and password that we've created for these purposes. So first thing we do is we log into your system, and once we log in, uh, the information on your company will be displayed on your home screen, as you can see. The system is organized using a set of rows with tabs and links below the uh, the particular tabs that control different functions. For instance, your home tab, right below it, you have My Settings, which control the profile of the person who's currently logged into the system. So if I wanted to make any changes to My Settings, I could just click on My Settings and it will display the information pertaining again to my profile. So if I needed to make a change to my email account or my phone number or my password, I could do that right here. And once I've made the change, I just click on submit and the change will be saved into the system. My site basically controls or displays the information of your business. As you can see right here, Iris Pharmacy, Total Care Pharmacy of Delray Beach. That's the information that we have and your phone number. We don't have your state license yet. When you decide to use our software and we finish your configuration, that information will be added in there. You can see that the information, this information basically controls what is displayed on your pedigrees. Your defaults are who in your organization is responsible for receiving your merchandise, who's responsible for doing the authentication of the pedigrees, and finally, in the state of Florida, they require a CDR, so the information and the name of the person who's performing the CDR function would be populated in this area. Finally, your signatures. Your signatures are the digital representation of a physical signature that we basically digitize the signature forms that we provide you. I believe I gave you one when we visited with you yesterday. So you have one. I need one for each user, and we will embed it into their profile. And finally, the options field just gives us the ability to, if you do shipping into international, if you do shipping outside the country, there's some rural codes and some other information that are provided on the pedigree itself. That's basically what these fields allow for. And finally, right below the first tab, under the home tab, you have your, your users. And uh, the US Med system doesn't limit how many users you could have access to the system. You could have as many as you need in order to run your organization. And this is where you keep basically a list of all your users. This is where you would add a user and control their roles in the company. Simply by clicking on New User right here will allow you to add a new user into the system. So that's what the Home tab basically controls and what it has below it. The Upload tab is what we would use to bring in pedigrees from ANDA or from other vendors that you're purchasing from. There are four primary methods of bringing in the pedigrees, and we'll cover that shortly. Your pedigree tab basically is a place where all your pedigrees will be displayed. All the information on pedigrees, all the ones you've received, and everything that you've provided. So every inbound and outbound pedigree will be displayed in this area. And to find any particular pedigree is a simple function of using the view option box here by on this side on the search field. You could put the invoice number, the name of the drug, the NDC, or the lot number, and it will basically, the system will look for those values contained in all the pedigrees and display that information. So if you have an order with an invoice number, let's say 1212, and it has 5 line items that have pedigrees pertaining to that invoice, if you were to put that information in this search field, it will display all the pedigrees regarding that particular transaction. Site is basically how we identify either your vendor or your customers. So using a combination of both these fields, you could search for a particular pedigree. So you could put in one field here, for example, the name or the number of the invoice, and then the well, that wouldn't be a good one because an invoice would be an invoice for that person. But let's say you're looking for a particular medication. You could put the NDC number here, and then you could put the name of the person that you're looking for, or the customer you sold it to, or who you purchased it from. Or you could just leave the NDC by itself, and it would show you all the purchases done for that NDC for all the places that you purchased it from. Again, this is just a combination of things. So you could see just your inbound versus your outbound. You could see pedigrees that are pending review, which we will cover shortly. Or you could see the ones that you haven't received or have not authenticated. So these filters basically control what is being displayed here on your pedigree screen. If the link right below pedigree, new pedigree, if we click on that, what this does is it provides you a blank slate for you to manually enter the information on a pedigree. There are times where you may purchase goods from somebody who does not provide you a pedigree in a format that is readily readable by our systems. That happens on occasion. Quality King, as I discussed with you, is one of those vendors that provide the pedigrees in an electronic format, but it's not really compliant with any standards that allow us to be able to read it. So in those cases that you have a pedigree that you need to enter into the system and our system cannot read it, you would simply click on New Pedigree. You will be provided a blank document, and you would enter the information into the system manually. So this would be the way that you would enter a pedigree manually. And let's leave this page here. Finally, your order and your inventory screen. It's pretty straightforward, and we'll cover that as step 3, as creating your outbound transactions. Using the order process is simply clicking on your order tab will open up a area where you would enter your orders, and then by creating an order you could select the items that require pedigrees that will be part of this order, and allows you to do multiple pedigrees using one step. So this is a very easy and comprehensive way of doing multiple line item pedigrees in the system. Very simple. Inventory is exactly what it is. Your inventory, what's available. At this moment you have nothing there, so there are no pedigrees to bring in. So there's no pedigrees, excuse me. You have no inbound pedigrees in the system. Even though I added a couple just so that you have some information there, I created an outbound transaction for it, so there's nothing available right now. And reports finally provide you several important reports that allow you to be able to monitor for compliance reasons the pedigrees that you need to generate for a compliance officer, or in this case the Florida Controlled Substance Report, the ARCOS report. We create the file for you so that you could have upload. So you just basically put in the range of the time that you're looking for, and you click on CRS file, and it will format the file in the specific format required. When you click submit, the system will create the report in a format that you could export and save to your system, and then upload it into the ARCOS system, which is very handy. Finally, tools allows you to use our database to look for drug information. You could enter an NDC number here, and our system will report back what we have in our database for the particular medication. To add an NDC, there are occasions when NDCs are missing from our data tables. This is a way that you would add it. I would be doing that for you, so I wouldn't be concerned about that. And finally, the help desk is just a way of allowing to reporting issues that you may be having with the system. So if you run into a problem or an issue, you simply click on your help desk uh, link and click on add a ticket and basically let us know what it is that you're having trouble with, and our technicians will respond to you within a couple of hours, sometimes even quicker than that. Obviously, you have my phone number too, so you could call me and I will be more than happy to be taking care of your problems immediately. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to show you step one on how to use our system. We start by clicking on upload. The upload link, once the page refresh, will show you four methods to bring in the pedigrees. Primarily, most of our customers use step one or two. Now, we will provide you an email account address inside the USMED system. In your case, it will probably be called something like IPC at usmeds.com, as you can see right here. What this allows you is to email your pedigrees directly into your site within the USMed system. It also allows you to direct your vendors to simply email you your pedigrees. Our systems will read the email attachments and parse out the information in order to be able to add the next uh, service line, or what when you do your transaction, your outbound transactions. So this is one of the most convenient ways of uploading pedigrees into the system. To add a pedigree to your site directly, it's simple. It's a very simple process. It replicates the method that you would use to add an attachment to an email. You simply choose the file in your local system, and you click on upload. And this method allows you to only add 4 pedigrees at a time. On the email attachment, though, you have up to 100 pedigrees, 100 attachments that we will be able to parse out the pedigrees from that. Number 3 is for Masters RX. They're an Ohio uh, company that has a very specific method for delivering pedigrees, and what we've designed is a method to communicate with their system simply by clicking on this link on number 3. It opens up a new page and you enter your account number and your invoice and click submit. Our systems will communicate with the Masters RX servers and be able to extract all the pedigrees associated to that invoice and bring it into your site. Um, again, with the Masters, the only caveat is that they make their pedigrees available only for 10 days after the day that it was shipped to you. So you have to make sure that that pedigree is retrieved within the 10 days that the order was placed. If not, you would have to call them and have them reactivate that pedigree on their system. And finally, the HTML source is for pedigrees that are provided to you in a format that is only viewable on your computer screen. Some of our competitors have chosen to provide the pedigrees only on a screen viewable format, so it basically forces you to either print the screenshot of what you're looking at, or what we've done is we've allowed you a way of copying the content of the HTML page that's displaying the pedigree information and saving it. This allows our system to read the data there that contains the pedigree information and converting it into a format that allows you to, again, be able to create your outbound transactions. It's a very simple process, and I'll be happy to cover it with you once you come in on board with us. It's not very difficult to follow. So those are your primary methods of bringing in pedigree. So you have your manual way, which we covered. You just click on new pedigree, or you use the upload mechanism here. And you're pretty much going to be living in step 1 and 2. This is where most of our customers upload the pedigrees. So let's start with doing a couple of sample files. So I'll click on number 1 and I'll choose a file on our system. And let's pick this file. It's also important to note that the pedigrees that you upload into the system cannot be a scanned document. They have to be an original digital copy that has been produced by a computer and just basically interchanged in between computer systems. If it's a paper that was converted into a PDF, our systems cannot read them simply because the information, the text that's contained in it is not a representation of an actual um, text, but a picture, if you will. So our systems cannot read that. So it has to be an original document produced electronically. It has to be either PDF, Word, Excel, a text document in a text or RTF format, XML or HTML. So these are the formats that we support, and you can see that information right here. So we've selected 3 files, and we click on Upload. The system will basically read the files that we've selected. These pedigrees will then be translated, and when we click on pedigrees, we'll see that our pedigrees that we've uploaded are now available. Now on our pedigree screen, the information is organized in a way that is very logical. It's based on the date that the transaction is either entered into the system or the order is created out. As you can see today, on March 20th, 2014 at 3:58 p.m., we have received 3 files, and they're put in order. The progression is, since I had created one manually before, 1 is gone. So it's 2, 3, and 4. And the file name is basically an extension of today's date and the order that the transaction will receive. So as you can see, this is 2014, March 20th, the second transaction. PIN basically indicates that this is a pedigree, an inbound pedigree. The magnifying glass lets us know that this is a pedigree that's pending review, which is step 2, which we will cover shortly. Quantity is basically the quantity of merchandise that's in that order, and the remaining value. This will allow you to keep track of how many items you have left. The NDC, the lot. The reference ID is a number that we tag onto every transaction. It's a unique identifier. It's a 10-digit alphanumeric value. It is never repeated anywhere on any one of our customer sites, so it is unique only to this transaction, and it helps you track this particular transaction to where it became part of the system. Every time you create a subsequent order that's linked to this particular transaction, they have a new number sequence that's generated, and it's linked to this parent pedigree. So they're all linked, and you'll be able to find in this chain of events what happened in each individual transaction. Okay, so the reference ID is important, and it's something that we use in our system to track the transaction. The total number of units is an expression of the pill counts times the quantity of the bottle. So there's 12,000 bottles, 12,000 pills or tablets in this order. As you can see, it's a Captopril 25 milligram, 1,000 count bottle. So you have a total count of units here. This is used primarily by our repackaging customers, and it helps them keep track of their repackaging events and how many units are left in the bottles from each source. The expiration date, as you can see, the value is missing here. We are only able to capture the information that's provided on the pedigree. So if the pedigree is missing the expiration date, you will have to enter that in yourself manually. We have no way of picking up on that if it's not on the pedigree record itself. So as we can see, we have 3 pedigrees. They're both received here. I'm going to open up one of them. Before I do that, I just want to let you know that these 2 links here, the file is this icon basically is a place where all the data, all the information pertaining to this transaction is saved. So all you have the option of being able to scan other documents that are not pedigree, an invoice, a shipping document, a check, scan it and link it to this transaction. All that information will be available. If you click on the file folder, all those files will be contained in there. Right now it's empty because all we have is just the pedigree itself. The public view is a link, a hyperlink extension. So if I were to click on this link here, it would redirect me to the USMEDs Pedigree Finder. It's a quick way for you to copy, and basically if you have a customer who's asking you for pedigree, you can simply say click to copy this link, if you will, and save copy link address, and it allows you then to go into an email and paste that there, and they would be able to then use that link to come back to the pedigree on our Pedigree Finder site. So we've got 3 pedigrees here, and now we have to do the second step in the process. The second step is just simply accepting the pedigree. Basically, by law, you're supposed to get your pedigree information before you receive your merchandise. So what I recommend to all my clients is, if you place your orders to your vendor today, you could bring in your pedigrees and have your shipping department could be ready to receive this this product and be able to check off on their portion of this of the process, which is step two. How we do that is basically we open up the transaction. As you can see, we have transaction one and transaction two, and this is a condensed view of this data. If we click on view, it opens up the other additional fields that are available to us. In this case, if we have the information and we wish to enter the tracking and shipping information, we can. And as you can see, it's a logical progression. Transaction one is always going to be the drug manufacturer to the ADR. In this case, it's ANDA. And transaction two will be the last person who owned the drug. As you can see, ANDA on transaction one was the last person. They're selling it now to, in this case, IRA will have received this pedigree. Now, I'm going to show you what the pedigree that was that was used to create this information, or what we parsed out of the original pedigree. This is the pedigree that was uploaded that was used to generate the information that you're seeing on this particular screen. So as you can see, this medication came from Ranbaxy, and this is the pedigree that it was parsed from. This information is part of now this transaction history, and it's saved below here. This is your pedigree, and it's going to be in part of the historical record here. If I click on details, it'll tell me the date and the time it came into the system and who was the one involved in bringing it in. So you're conserving all the data in here. So now you have everything in an electronic format. Okay, so we've gotten our pedigree into the system, but now we've got to do step two, which is accept it. So obviously you have to receive it, and obviously you have to make sure that the merchandise you received matches with the documentation that you were provided. That's why we have step two. So if you have somebody who is a shipping and receiving department, you could give them authority only to do this portion of it and click on the receive component of the pedigree. You may have an authentication department. They click on their portion of it. Again, this is permission level, and you set that up with your user accounts. And finally, the CDR is the one responsible for clicking on accept. Once this is the last step, unless the accept checkbox has been clicked on, nothing, this particular medication will not be available in your inventory. So let's say we are going to go through the process and say that it's all pretty much completed. Now, as you can see, the magnifying glass on that pedigree has been removed. It's no longer pending review. We're going to do it to the next two that are pending, and we're going to click on done. And that's pretty much finished. And we are going to do it to the last one. And done. All our pedigrees are cleaned up. If we were to go to our inventory, we will see that we have the Captopril, the Cefaxin, and the Mycycline available now for you to do your last step, which is create your outbound transaction or your orders to your customers. Okay? So we've covered the first step, which is we've uploaded the pedigrees into our system using step one. The same step that we used could be accomplished by just simply emailing the same files to your account. We've gone into our pedigree screen, we've opened up the files, and we've accepted the information as being true and correct, and that the merchandise came in good, that it wasn't broken, that the seals were okay, that all the information matches, so it's all good. So now we're ready to go in creating our orders for our customers, and that's very simple to do. We just click on the order link. At this stage, we're provided the order control box. This is where we basically see what we've sold to our customers. In the future, when you have multiple orders here, obviously you could use these search filter control boxes to do the same functions as you could with You could use these control boxes to do the same thing as you could in the pedigree screen. You could search by invoice, PO number, or your customer name. You could search by open or closed orders and find anything that you're looking for here. But let's create a new order. You simply click on Create Order. You enter the invoice number from your accounting system that you're going to use to create this order. Your PO number, if your customer provided you one. The date of the transaction. Excuse me, 2014. And who you're going to sell it to. Let's say we're going to sell this to Dr. Phil. And we're going to create an order. We've created now basically a shopping cart, if you will. It's almost like it's exactly what that is. It's a shopping cart. It's a vessel where now we could put the items that we're going to be selling to this customer. After we've created the order, we need to select the items that we're going to place in this order. So we click on inventory, and whatever items we have available will be provided to us, and it will default to the order, the last order that we've created as the one being available. If you have multiple orders that are being opened, you could put that order information here. So we'll select the items that we're going to sell to this customer, and we'll put the quantity that we plan on selling to them and click Add to Order. Once we've added the information to the order now contains the pedigrees that are part of this order transaction. It's important to note that if your customer has an email account associated to his profile, at the end of this process, the system will automatically email them a pedigree to them so that you won't have to do anything further. But that's important to note in the beginning when you start with using our system, as you create your customer profiles within the USMED system, to please take the time to gather their email accounts. It will make your life so much simpler in the future. So we've created an order, but let's say that we're waiting for an item to come in to complete this order. You could just simply keep going and doing your work, and then let's say you receive your new pedigree and you've uploaded it and you've accepted it like you've done everything else, and now you're ready to add that last item. You just simply go back to your inventory screen. You could select the open order. Before I do this, let me show you. If I were to go to orders, you could see that one has a lock and one has an open box. The open box icon basically allows me to know that this is an open order. So I could click on the open order and it takes me to the order, or I could go to the inventory screen and select the order that I want to finish. In this case, I want to add the last component to the order and then add to order. Now you can see that the order tells me these are the items. I could remove it if I made a mistake, or I could continue to add items by clicking on my inventory screen. Once I'm satisfied that the order is complete, I simply mark it as closed. Again, if the customer has an email profile, your customer will receive an email with a link, and this link would be simply this extension right here that would take them to the USMEDS Pedigree Finder. And they could view, if we click on View Manifest, it will view a manifest of the completed order. As you can see, your company logo is embedded in all your transactions. If I were to click on the hyperlink to one of these items, it will take me to the pedigree that you've created for this order. We'll display that for you now so you can see what that would look like. And your customer would see a pedigree presented in a PDF file format that they could save in their local system, which contains all the state required information. And it's properly executed and signed in the corresponding areas as required by law as well. So that basically concludes what your final step on providing pedigrees to your customers. And again, it's a very simple 3-step process, and it's very easy to accomplish. If you have any further questions, I look forward to hearing from you. soon, and I think I covered the basic steps. There are some other things that we could discuss later on how to automate the outbound orders using the order upload method. It's a little bit more sophisticated, but if you're doing high volume of transaction, this allows you to create hundreds of outbound pedigrees by uploading a single file. Uh, in the beginning, I don't think this is something that you should be using because it's always good that you get a idea of the fundamental steps of the program before you go into the automated process. That way, if something fails to be created, you can understand where there's a break in the sequence. It happens sometimes, but it's an important component that I think that would happen after your initial training is established. Anyway, this is the USMED system. I hope that I've answered any questions that you have. If you have anything more that you would like to ask me, please feel free to contact me. Thank you very much.